Welcome back to another coffee break. We have Sonam Sherpa and we have the man Kirk himself. We're going to break down the latest app.
Yes. Well, we of course just had the World Barista Champion from
2022. Yeah, the Anthony Douglas. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll stop. You go.
Anthony's a unique guy. I've had the pleasure of knowing him for nearly 10 years now, and he's very shy. And so to get him to come on was quite good, but to also know his story. And I think I liked asking him because we spoke about how his use of a mindful mind coach during the podcast that he's used to help him and how that's carried on to this day. Before we started, he was like, he asked me, I just need a few moments to myself. And he like kind of meditated. I was like, I found that really interesting.
It was beautiful. He spoke so well as well. So calm. So
And I think
collected.
it's important to remember he's more than just the WBC champion. You know, he's more than the sum of the parts. He's a nice guy. He's a special guy, very generous guy as well. Always giving. Whenever I chat to him, he's always asking me more than what's required. It's less than transactional, that's for sure. And I think that podcast is going to be very handy for a lot of people to learn how to hold yourself with some decorum for your life and not just for the competition. So what he's done with that diligence across that years of competing, he's managed to use that in his life as well. And you can see it from every single moment when you chat to him, go out to lunch with him. He's a really well-considered bloke. And I appreciate those sort of people.
That was one of the goals I wanted to get out of the podcast as well, is that what can you get from this, not only from coffee, but what can you get from this if you're just a punter and you want to go about things in your average day? It's like trying something and repeatedly not getting the result that you want, but growing from that and pushing on and then achieving what it is you wanted up after all those years.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I'm going to kind of abstract this a little bit, but we had a chat recently the other day about my child, about my son. And my partner, we got the grades back from the teacher, and the teacher was like, oh yeah, he's doing really well. He's trying really hard. His aptitude's great. He's going to school a little bit earlier than most of the other kids. So he's born earlier in the year. And we got the results back, and Claire was a bit like, oh, so he's not a genius. And I'm like, Claire, there's no such thing as genius. There's genius, like a wild out and out genius, which are 1 in a billion. And then there's, I try really hard. And that I'm not afraid of failure, and I'm not afraid of messing things up, and I want to go again and again and again. And they're the people you want in your life. They're the people you want to hang around, and they're the people you want on the podcast, because they're who we're going to learn the most from, because I don't want to hang out with a naturally gifted freak. That's just going to make me feel shit.
But you're doing it right now. To be clear, that was a joke. But also, quick weird thought for you, and we'll get back onto the coffee stuff in a second, but imagine your son's going to be able to listen to what you just said in 15 years.
Yeah, I hope he does.
Podcasts and stuff are widely available. It's like I see photos of my parents and they were taken on, a film camera or whatever. And then nowadays, if I have a kid, they'll be like, oh, there's plenty of stuff of you on the internet. I can watch you grow. That's
Imagine Rowan's kids.
Oh, yeah.
Why, you drank that? You did this? Why did you try all those crazy things? I'll tell you why, because I put him up to it. That spring onion coffee, probably not the greatest coffee, but he did it. We appreciate that.
Yeah. But the podcast itself, it was one of the more interesting ones, and I think it appealed to people's kind of inner nature a bit more than some of the other ones that we've done. Like, all of these I like to think are somewhat of an educational experience. Delivered the biggest and probably baddest extra hot take with 2 sugars, by the way, I might add. And I was like,
considered,
because he said, let's just say it starts off usually as an extra hot latte with 2 sugars.
Yep.
Let's just say that's the standard.
That's the measure.
He put chocolate on top, thereby making it a cappuccino with like a subsequent, let's just say a supplementary sort of input on that. Then
Sonam doesn't know it.
Oh, well.
No, I was listening in.
Oh,
yeah, I was there. Yeah. That was amazing.
And then he doubled down, thereby making it a double shot. So it's our first extra hot cappuccino strong with 2 sugars.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't use a triple basket and go all in.
It was impressive.
Have you, not to deviate one more time, but have you ever seen like the triple spouted handles?
Oh.
You can get a triple spout handle. Yeah. It's like a waterfall. It's amazing. All right.
Try Wizard tournament of portafilters.
Yeah, I mean, a 6-shooter. Imagine that. That would just be unreal. All right, I'm going to try my best to get one for you guys, and then we can have a play one time.
Okay. Well, I'm down. Anthony's probably one of the best coffee makers a vet as well. And so the content of his extra hot take was, he wanted to essentially see a compulsory round to determine who really was the world's best barista. And in any case, from baristas that I've met in person, people like him and Craig Simon would be some of the most competitive in that field.
I think the compulsory round is democratic in its way as well, which means, everyone has access to the exact same thing and it's far more even in its competition. Yeah. I think it's spot on.
Yeah.
And I add a layer to that because in my brain, I'm like, okay, if everyone gets the same coffee and they get kind of marked against each other, you'll still get like this kind of deviation of flavors that are happening. What if we added a layer where it's like the judges know exactly the profile that should be brought out of this and everyone gets a different, but they don't know. They can test it by tasting and they can test the beans that they get, but the judges already know like the heritage, what the kind of the nuanced flavors that can be brought out of it. And that's how they test individuals. They all get different.
Well, I think they do get a blind currently. I don't know how it all exactly works, but yeah, should be as baseline as possible, for sure. And
huge.
But I guess one of the other things we were saying and the difficulties related to is that the cup tasters one, where you have to.
It's the triangulation. Yeah,
that's the only one where there's a clear way to win.
Yeah, it's super. It's black and white. That's what I like about it. So the other question that I have for you now, Kirk, is as someone who has competed numerous times and tried across different competitions, what were your key takeaways from that discussion that you just had with Anthony?
Well, if I'm to let's talk, I'll give you three. So the first one is kind of preparing the person, not the coffee professional, for a big undertaking like this. He had a really good quote that I asked him to repeat during that. Hopefully we can get as a short, and where he's kind of talking about if you're trying to undertake something like this, you need to have the best system. I can't remember exactly what he said. Do you remember what I'm talking about? And yeah, I feel like he prepared himself as a person, having his protocol as in, being organized from day to day, organizing how he's going to actually prepare in a way. So having scripts and things like that. I feel like his preparation, I guess you could sum it all down.
It's the old 4 Ps, Preparation prevents piss poor performance. It's a classic footy line and it's something I've never forgotten. And I got drilled that got drilled into me in under 12. So I think what you're trying to say is he's built the structures around himself to navigate that process of the journey of becoming the WBC champion. And that is so important. And that's something that we talk about a lot here at work as well, is constantly reflecting, constantly updating your systems and being able to see the end goal. That's easy. The end goals, anybody can see the end goal, but it's like what steps you're going to see along the way and what is the point to take stock. And he's obviously done that quite successfully.
He also dished out a quailing. He harnessed. We had Ross Quayle on recently, and I think he's just the gift that keeps on giving in terms of podcast guests because he's so funny. He's just done so well, and he had some pearls of wisdom that he imparted on Anthony, which essentially said, "Don't give up. Your time's coming." And I found that really cool, something that you can again relate to in everyday life, and then something and Anthony kind of remembered and harnessed and used to win, and also just cool because we know Ross.
And this is why you should always seek out mentors in your life in whatever facet it is. They may be the world's best, or they may be someone that you just look up to, or they may be someone who's pioneering a niche. Having that mentor then gives you the energy to be able to keep pushing, and that's obviously what's happened in that point. I think that's why it's so good that I'm actually Kirk's mentor at the moment, and that's why I'm leaving.
And I guess the last one I sort of put out there is that he's so humble. And he's never in the time that I've known him has bragged about anything. He's never thought he's better than anyone, never been boastful, never talked anyone down. Very, very humble. And I kind of like that, his stoic approach to life and never step on anyone to get somewhere yourself.
Yeah. And he's got his ego in check, which I think is really important. I think it's, there's self-deprecating and then there's actually just having your ego in check and understanding he's been to the top. He could say whatever he wants. He could fling mud if he wanted to, but he doesn't. I think that's that reservation within a person is amazing because I know I don't have it.
I asked him a question at the end, is like, what did you want people to remember you by? You know, what did you want people to remember about Anthony Douglas? And he said that he's scared of being remembered as the world barista champion. You know, he wanted to be remembered by something else, which was, you know, having given to other people and help uplift other people. And I thought that was really cool and genuine too.
Yeah, core qualities in a person are what I look forward to as well. I mean, everyone can get an accolade, anyone can have a CV, anyone can have an achievement. But if you're a shit person, you're a shit person. That's just what it comes down to.
Well, that's an extra I'll take with 2 sugars without, you know, the segment going on.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I think that's just more of a life philosophy for us.
All right. Well, speaking of which, he also shot down your theory. We had a sort of furious debate. We had a furious debate about whether he would, because you asked me, do I like xiaolongbao or ravioli? Or if given the option of the two, which one am I taking? I said ravioli.
And this is all because I came in one day within earshot and made the claim that Italian food is overrated. I've just been to Italy and I've just reconfirmed that theory. I lasted 3 days. So that's max 6 consecutive meals before I needed to chase myself a Chinese meal. And don't get me wrong,
succulent Chinese meal.
I had a succulent Chinese meal like no other. I will get Liam to put up here what that restaurant was, because I can't pronounce it properly and I don't want to butcher it, but it was amazing. The scampi that was located on a tree, unreal. There'll be footage and it'll have Rowan's face in it too, and he'll agree with me when he's back from Italy. Also, speaking of Rowan and Italy, last I heard of him, we were in London. I had to rush off to a lunch. I just had a meeting. Next thing I get to lunch. I'm like, yep, great, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden I get a WhatsApp saying, my luggage has been lost. I said to him, man, we need a clean break. You need to have 2 weeks of holiday. I'll see you when you get back. And that's the last I've heard of him. So he's probably walking around.
You just left him high and dry on his own. You abandoned Rowan in Italy.
Well, I want him to be tan and I want him to be happy and I want him to be wearing the same clothes I saw him in last.
Well, I think he'll be at least 2 or 3 of those things.
Yeah, definitely be 2 of those. Yeah.
An absolute recipe for that, though, you know, just take away his clothes. He has to see the sun. There's not enough layers on him, you know.
Well, funnily enough, I've actually got his girlfriend's jumper here, so I was part of the process of the stealing of the clothes. It's just over there. I'll get her to put it on next time she's in. Beautiful jumper, by the way. And then just going back to the Italian food, my preference is lots of other different cuisines, but my key, metric of how I decide between the two is: do you want ravioli or do you want xiaolongbao? I want xiaolongbao. You want
ravioli.
Why?
I'll put to you something else.
How many ravioli could you eat in one sitting?
Oh, countless.
I reckon I could eat 1,000 xiaolongbao. Not 1,000, sorry, 100 xiaolongbao. I reckon I could eat 100 xiaolongbao in one sitting. I could not eat 100 raviolis.
What are you taking?
Ravioli.
You're a meat eater?
Yes, I am.
Oh, we'll put in the context of meat. So, are you taking butter chicken or pizza?
Butter chicken.
Oh, right. I'm proud of you, Sonam, because I'm a big time Indian food lover. Like, hands down, like if I've got a gun to my head, the last meal I'm having is a malai kofta from Spice Mix. Can we actually do a podcast and we'll get some Spice Mix delivered?
Let's do it.
Okay, so that's definitely on the docket, because just get a malai kofta from Spice Mix, a couple of butter naans. I'm in heaven.
Yep, I understand that.
Dal makhni as well. Some of my favorite curries. I'm a vegetarian these days. I love curry.
I love curry too. I'm also half Nepalese, so I understand the spectrum and the flavors of curry. So and I would say South Asian food better than Italian as well.
Oh, whoa. So Hakka food, does that mean anything to you?
No, please elaborate.
Well, my girlfriend is Indian, and I think Hakka food is kind of like Indian Chinese influence cooking.
Where is this?
So, well, you can get it from Spice Mix, but they do this thing called the Manchurian. So it's like these little fried dishes, but they've got this beautiful Chinese tasting sauce. My mouth's watering right now.
Oh man, I'm in. All right,
so
is it like a northern region? Like we're talking borderline, like Tibet sort of thing, like the Himalayas?
Look, don't quote me because I haven't got my map. I don't want to.
Yeah, because I've made it as far north as Sikkim in India, which is like the border of the Himalayas and stuff like that. Near Kanchenjunga, third tallest mountain in the world. I watched the sunrise there. Beautiful. Didn't have Toto's Africa playing because it makes no sense, but I would have. Sorry, Liam, I apologize.
Flute solo.
Yeah, flute solo. So this is my last one. I would go a lanzhou beef noodle over any Italian pasta dish any day of the week. Hand-pulled noodles on the spot.
I'm going to have to interject here because I've been to Italy once, and what I think their superpower is just getting the most basic of things and combining them and getting it to taste unbelievable. Like I had a seafood pasta back when I was there,
like a vongole, perhaps. Yeah, probably.
Couldn't tell you what it was. Just like some like basic prawns, some
lambs,
some pepper, some butter was in the pasta, and it tasted sensational. And like very memorable. In fact, I was and I left. Chinese, like a lot of the Asian foods, they rely on a lot of spices, sauces, sweets.
I'm into that.
Yeah, okay.
More. Why? There was people taking over parts of the world for spices. What happened to that?
If one fun fact, while we're on this topic, and we'll work a bit of Anthony Douglas in here too. He is a halal snack pack addict.
The HSB demons.
So a halal snack pack for those listening abroad is just basically French fries, chips with lots of doner meat on top, and then cheese and lots of sauce. So maybe can we get a graphic of the halal snack pack as I'm saying this?
I've only ever eaten one HSP, and that was me done. I was like, yeah, that's fine.
Anthony went through a phase because we also used to have a little thing where we spoke about the McDonald's hotcakes. So every time I would have some McDonald's hotcakes, which I haven't had for a hot minute to be honest, but I would always send them to Anthony, and anytime he had it, he would also send it to me.
Just like, that's generous.
That man,
good friendship.
He puts away some he's a very sophisticated guy. Yeah, likes the finer things in life, but also gets down and diggy.
Nice.
With HSP.
So we've got one for Italian, one for anything but Italian. But I still like Italian food to a certain degree. I just say it's overrated. How do you feel, Liam? Decide.
Choose your words carefully.
Dun dun. I'm actually with you, Sonam. 100%. I think Italian food is on the weaker spectrum just because it's so accessible and the competition is so there. The level and quality is just lower in general. You say seasonal products and seasonal ingredients. Are they?
But can I post?
Show me a tomato right now. Show me a tomato.
Can I put something to you? People try and replicate and franchise Italian food, right? Yep. I don't see too many Chinese restaurants out there that white people are going and sort of, destroying.
But I wouldn't say that it's seasonal. They don't rely on this. We're talking about the best Italian food is Nonna's Tomatoes out back, and they've just made it fresh and everything. What franchise
but then you got
do you
Domino's,
go to?
Then you got Domino's and Pizza Huts and Papa John's.
But that's because the profit margin on those is so great and the skill level to execute is so low that's why they are easy to make into those franchises. The Chinese food requires more nuance and understanding of flavors and understanding of 1,000 ingredients going into one dish. And to get that symphony correct is just...
So what you're saying is we need to do a podcast in the middle of a yum cha service? So we'll get some tries.
Yes. I think what we need to do is just get a podcast of you eating Italian, me eating Chinese, and seeing who wins. And the real winner is whoever finishes first, because that's how it's more delicious.
Okay, well, what's our thoughts on ramen? Because I'm a big time
love ramen.
Yeah,
love ramen.
I'm a big time
Once
ramen
again,
guy.
how many ingredients in a ramen do you reckon? Probably 40. Easy.
Oh, it depends on the broth, really.
Yeah, it's all about the broth.
Easy.
And then, so obviously, food chat good. You're going to obviously see Rohan again next week. He's back.
I forget what he looks like, to be honest. Well,
I mean, I'll be keen because so him and I, we traveled through Italy and then London and we ate like absolute crazy. We were eating 4 meals a day.
What's going to happen to the shred? Because he's put himself out there on this podcast with the shred. So I'm gonna be expecting a weigh-in.
I think a weigh-in is necessary, but I'm also going to say...
Do we get a live weigh-in going?
That's a bit savage, but okay. We were also drinking a lot too. So we were imbibing at all the best cocktail bars that we could get into. I'm on a big cocktail kick normally, but even more so when I travel overseas because I feel like it's a really good read of the culture there. You can understand a culture more by...
A fair few Negronis are flowing over there, surely.
Yeah, Negronis are good. Like they're a bit played out, but in terms of just like more nuance, we went to Rita's Tiki Room and then went to a heap in Florence. Rasputin was amazing. I'm not going to drop any more names because you'll know how much money I burnt on this trip. But
Tax deductible.
Tax deductible. Yeah, it was all research. But I've come back now. I'm ready to go for the rest of the year. Rowan, hopefully, is ready to go for the rest of the year. Speaking of the rest of the year, what have you got lined up for us?
Well, we've got some good guests that we're working. Am I allowed to disclose some of them? Or?
I reckon drop one or two.
Well, we're working on breakfast shirts currently. The breakfast shirts.
The human headline. The human headline is in.
And he's kind of like causing a lot of controversy in Australia. We have spoken about some goals about competition stuff that we want to work on. I won't elaborate too much on that just now because I want people to see that. But there's definitely some stuff that we're cooking in the pipeline there.
And I believe an old colleague of mine, Tim Williams, is coming in. Chat all things AeroPress. He is the AeroPress CEO. Not AeroPress CEO, the AeroPress Championship CEO. So that'd be a great. That guy's had more AeroPresses than anyone.
Yeah, epic.
If he doesn't have the right recipe, I don't know who does.
Yep. Caleb Holstein from Green Square.
Oh,
so
sweet.
That's part of a tech startup, coffee related. And that Mark Dundon actually name dropped that when he was here.
If MD's dropping it, you know it's real.
Yeah, you know it's for real. You know how we do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then plenty more, which we're working on. I won't say just yet, but we're trying to lock in some dates for some people.
Are you teasing? You're teasing, aren't you?
I'm teasing.
Love this. I love the tease.
I wish there wasn't copyright laws around playing Careless Whisper by George Michael right now.
Depends how you play it, yeah? If I play it on a saxophone, maybe there is. If I play it on a violin, I don't know, Liam, you're the musician. Is that right?
Yeah, look, there is a lot of issues with that. So let's not talk about it.
No stealing music. Okay, I get it.
I'll do a cover of it, but just give them full props.
Also, I'm going to put it out there. If anybody wants to suggest any forgotten cafe bangers from the last 20 years, give us a time, give us a place, give us the context, and then we're going to try and guess the song.
Can I pose like a bit of a hot question here? Has Sabrina Carpenter with Espresso kind of blown everyone out of the water? Because A, it's a bopper. We
Big tune.
No one's to know.
It's about me. It's about you.
It's about me. It's about you. But also, she's got the coffee relevance there.
Oh, yeah.
So the customers are all bopping. You're bopping. Clear reference to coffee there. Has Sabrina kind of blown everyone out of the water?
I mean, what's a bigger coffee song?
Yeah, well, I don't. All through my coffee break time.
Oh, yeah.
I say a little prayer for you.
Yeah.
Which is also the title of this. That's clearly gets a few like carryover points from that as well. One cafe song that I like to play, and you guys might not agree with it, but I know Jamie Thompson would, is Easy Lover by Phil Collins.
Oh, beautiful.
Phil Bailey. Yeah, that gets a big time feature. Supplementary offering in that department would also be Billy Don't Lose My Number by Phil Collins. You know what? Pause this, everyone. Please go and listen to Billy Don't Lose My Number by Phil Collins.
Done.
It is an absolute game changer.
Okay, so if anybody wants to put in the comments or anything else, or if you want to just submit via a DM, hit us with a time, a place, a cafe, and we'll try and guess the song of the moment.
Yeah, we can make it work.
Yeah, and if we don't get it right, well, I'll send you a bag of coffee.
And we'll just play We Come From the Land Down Under.
Very good.
Keep it Australian.
Cool.
All right.
Well, are we done? I think we're done. Liam, are we done?
That's another episode of Coffee Break. We've had Sonam on and we've been breaking down the latest ep and touch base with Rowan, with all the adventures to come. I'm excited to hear some songs that are going to come in. I reckon we should flip it on its head and say, like, what songs do hospo workers can't listen to anymore? Which ones can people, they rinse them too many times?
Both. Throw us both.
Potato by Masego.
Potato, my sick. Yeah. Okay.
Tadow. Yeah.
Send those songs into hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com and we will get back to you, y'all.
And we'll torture some hospo workers.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, we will. All right. Well, that'll do for this week, I guess. Thank you for attending Coffee Break. I'm Kirk Pearson.
And I'm Sonam Sherpa.
And it's just coffee.
It was just coffee until I got here.